For those in the audience getting to know you for the very first time, care to share where you were born?
I was born in New Orleans, Louisiana. But I was raised in Baton Rouge, though. I left New Orleans during Katrina. I think I was like 9 or 7. I don't want to lie, like 9 or 7. Then I moved to Baton Rouge. But I was back and forth. But I grew up in Baton Rouge most of my life.
And do you still reside in Baton Rouge today?
Nah.
What age were you when you officially left for good?
I think I was like 9.
You left Baton Rouge at 9?
No, New Orleans.
Oh, you left New Orleans at 9, but when did you leave Baton Rouge?
Probably like 20, 21. 21. Some shit like that.
And care to share where you reside these days?
I'm in Houston right now. But I'm really everywhere. I be traveling a lot. Well, I'm starting to back too. But before I was traveling a lot, but now I'm getting back to moving and shit.
And how long were you in Houston for?
I've been in Houston for like a year and a half, like 2 years. Yeah, like 2 years, year and a half.
Okay. Now, when it comes to Baton Rouge, does it get any more specific than that for you? Like a particular part of Baton Rouge you represent, for example?
Man, I used to be everywhere in Baton Rouge, man. I used to be in the South. I used to be in Glen Oaks. I used to be, shit, everywhere. I ain't got a Pacific, you know what I'm saying? I used to really be everywhere. I was at Badass Kids just everywhere, hanging with different type of people.
And for those that aren't familiar in the audience with Baton Rouge, but maybe they've heard of New Orleans already, how far of a distance is that?
Probably like an hour and some change. Sometimes it depends on how you drive. It damn near just take an hour and how close you is to it.
Now, speaking on Houston, circumstances could be different for everyone. So generally speaking here, but can you give the audience 5 tips on moving to Houston?
I ain't gonna lie, moving to Houston lit, man. I'm talking about the club scenery lit. The house is bigger and cheaper. It's more to do. They got activities Monday through Sunday. Everything it's just lit out there. I say Houston is a good place to move, man. I ain't gonna lie, and it's so big to us, like different areas. There's a lot of shit you can experience.
Anything else on the subject of Houston?
Nah, man, Houston just lit, man. I ain't gonna lie, Houston lit, bro. I don't see myself moving out of Houston. That's the place to stay.
Okay, now let's dissect New Orleans and Baton Rouge a little bit further. Starting with Hurricane Katrina, do you remember much about that?
Yeah, I was in Katrina. I was in Hurricane Katrina.
Can you shed some light on that?
All I remember is I was little, a bunch of water. I seen bodies and shit floating too. I still remember that. I remember getting in the boat and shit, my people. It was just a lot, man. That shit was crazy. But I was so young too, I didn't really, I couldn't take it serious because I'm young. It was a lot of shit going on, so you don't know what's going on. I'm a kid, you feel me? So it was just like a lot going on. But I remember some of it though. But now that I look back, I just realized like that shit was bad.
Now, when you say boat, do you mean you were just exploring what was going on?
Nah, I'm talking about like in the middle of it. Like I was actually like water high past the houses, and like hopping in the boat to like get out that shit.
To get rescued?
Yeah. My mom would still be telling me the stories, but I remember though, but I handled it well though.
And you mentioned you've seen bodies.
Yeah, but I ain't think none of it, bro. People, like that shit, people was floating and shit, like dead. But like I said, I'm a kid, so I don't really, you know what I'm saying?
Do you recall what that looked like, or?
Just people floating. I ain't gonna lie, it was just crazy, bro. I was so young to it. I understand now, like, but it was bad.
Now, back in those days, some evacuated that area before Katrina hit, and some stayed put.
Yeah,
it sounds like
we stayed.
Do you know, at that time you were,
yeah, but
younger than you were.
My people told me we stayed because we didn't think it was gonna get as bad as it got. They thought it was just gonna be okay, a little rain, wind blowing, woo-doo. But nah, that shit got bad. A couple of my people died too though, family members and shit.
Mother side of the family, father side of the family?
That was my mama. My daddy was out there too, my daddy's side of the family.
Okay, you get rescued in this boat, and then what happens?
Shit, I remember just going around a lot of people. I don't even know where I went or what happened, but I just know I was around so many people. I was around so many people.
And then you eventually leave to go to Baton Rouge.
Now I ain't go straight to Baton Rouge. I went to I think Alabama. I went to Thibodeau. I went to a lot of places. I went to Texas too before I even moved. I went to Texas too. Yep.
Did you ever end up going back to New Orleans to see your old stomping grounds and what happened to that area?
Nah, when I went back out there, everything was damn near getting fixed, you know. Yeah.
And at the time, was the home you were in, was that something that was being rented, something your family owned, things of that
It
nature?
was like some rent and shit. They ain't own nothing. People want the riches.
Now, when it comes to hurricanes these days, what's your policy?
Nowadays, hurricanes ain't like Katrina. I feel like Katrina was one of them ones to where it's like damn, like you ain't know what was expected, but like you can't, you know what I'm saying? So, you never know. We'll probably have a hurricane coming. We'll probably think of it's nothing, and that shit'll probably go crazy. Cause most hurricanes now it ain't that as bad as Katrina. Katrina was just bad.
Now, circumstances could be different for everyone, so generally speaking here, but can you give the audience 5 tips on dealing with a hurricane?
Man, leave, just leave. Ain't no tips, just leave. When somebody say they got a hurricane coming, leave that motherfucker. Just, if it's, I don't know, bro. But see, I can't even say that because most hurricanes come down, I don't even be taking serious. Like, nobody really take them serious. But shit, just leave, fuck.